Hi everybody, it's Halloween, yay! So October being, of course, the best month of the entire year, especially for a horror channel. Woohoo! Every year, in case you're new here, I think I've almost doubled the number of subscribers I've had in the last year, which I'm really excited about. We're up to 84 subscribers, yay! So big toast to the new people here. And every year, if you're new here, I like to look at the NPR. It's a website called, it's NPR's website, and it's called Click If You Dare, 100 Favorite Horror Stories. And there's sort of a celebrity panel of judges who went through all of the submissions from readers and decided that these were the best 100 stories, or the favorite 100 stories. So, it covers actually a pretty good range from classic horror to modern horror, and it's categorized, children in YA and women authors or significant characters, or there's one that's like werewolves, witches, and zombies or something. And anyway, I'll link the link below so that you can check it out. And I've done reviews elsewhere on the channel the last couple of years, so this, I think, is the third year running that I've done it. And so yes, it is October and it is Halloween. This week I read just the short story Young Goodman Brown. By the way, I like to bash all the old classics just because they're fun. This one I had a hard time getting through the first couple times I read it, but I sat down with the audiobook last night and followed along. And I think it pays off. It's a little bit slow going at the beginning, but it does have an interesting question that it asks about morality and about how people who present themselves as pious and faithful aren't necessarily what they appear to be. And also, Young Goodman Brown being very much an unreliable narrator, right? So in case you're not familiar with the story, this guy, Young Goodman Brown, and Goodman, that's what the Puritans, I believe, called their pastors, and their wives were good wife, so good man and good wife. And so he is this pious guy, and he goes out, for some reason, I have no idea why, he goes out into the woods in the middle of the night. It's never explained why he's doing this, so that kind of immediately makes him a little bit unreliable, I think. And he kisses his lovely wife goodbye, and his wife's name is literally Faith. So he's just new to this whole marriage thing, this whole faith thing, this whole idea of being, the good guy. Doesn't really give too much background other than that he's a young guy and he's married, and he goes out into the woods. And not far along, of course, the woods are always fraught with demons and terrifying things and Indians, and all of the temptations. So of course he runs into this old guy. The old guy. Man, could be Satan, could be whoever, but a mysterious stranger who passes it. He says, well, here, take my staff. And he's got this walking stick with a serpent on it, which, by the way, if I could find one that wasn't a spindly little piece of crap, I would absolutely have one with a snake's head on it, because that is so cool. But everyone that I've seen is it comes down to this little point, and it's very obviously for decoration, not for practical walking purposes. My cane is made of metal and has a big solid hunk of rubber at the bottom of it, so don't slip and fall on my face. Anyway, so he gives him this staff that looks like a serpent, and the serpent kind of starts moving. And so as they go, and so he first tries to reject the guy, but as they go, they run into this lady named Goody Coin, or Goody something or other. Anyway, she's one of the pious ladies in town. And she's the one who taught him catechism. Sorry about that. I don't know why I apologize, because I don't think you would probably notice the edits, but anyway. So he runs into a pious lady from town, and he's, and the lady seems completely familiar with this old devil guy, and he's starting to figure out, hey, there's something not quite right going on here. And then they run into other townspeople, and it turns out the townspeople are on their way to a party to welcome their newest convert, I guess you would call her. And it turns out that this is his lovely wife, Faith. Oh no. So, there's reveling, and there's devilry, and there's all kinds of partying, but he loses all of his sensibility, freaks out. But then he wakes up, and he's never sure if it happened or not. But when he goes back home and back into his normal life, he becomes very cynical because he's lost his faith. He doesn't know whether he should be trusting anybody or not. So this is a really interesting look at an unreliable narrator, of course. And also, it asks the question of whether these people who purport to be moral really are, because it took place at the time of the Salem witch burnings, and it's never obviously outright stated. Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought there. I believe I was talking about the morality of the time period in which the book is, or the story is set. It's set at the period of the Salem witch trials. And I didn't know until just now, doing a little quick wiki search, that Nathaniel Hawthorne's great-grandfather was one of the judges at the Salem witch trials. His name was John Hawthorne. And Nathaniel Hawthorne was so ashamed by this connection that he added the W to his name, which I never knew that before today. So there's your little bit of, you learn something new every day. And, the Salem witch trials were such a horrendous time period, and they did such awful things in the name of faith, that it's interesting that a story like Young Goodman Brown really does look at this idea of what faithful people have in their hearts, and if it can be trusted. Now, that's not to say that anybody who is religious is necessarily automatically a bad person. I think there are good people of faith and there are bad people of faith, just like everything else. But I think it really does sort of come to, you can purport to be a good person and a moral person and still be a terrible person if your heart lies in the wrong direction, and you don't live by the standards of making those choices, right? And that's what this story sort of looks at, and that the secrets that you hold in your heart maybe are a lot darker than you think. So so it's an interesting moral question to grapple with, and just, it does make you think about the horrible things that have been done in the name of faith, the horrible things that are still going on in the name of faith. And that's about all I got to say about Young Goodman Brown. So the other thing that I want to try for the month of October, try being the operative word here, I would like to try and maybe be a little bit more regular, more consistent about when I upload videos. I'm going to continue trying to work through the list a little bit, and what I want to look at, the books that I DNF, or that I already kind of have in my Kindle and on my shelf, and a lot of the things that I've been trying in the past to get caught up on. And I want to upload on Wednesdays and Fridays. let's try for every Wednesday and Friday this month. Let's see if I can actually do it. If I have enough, because I mean, obviously, I do have enough things to read and enough content that I would like to talk about. But it's also a question of being consistent and getting sidetracked by other things in my life. Like I've got my court date again on the 17th. Not happy about that. And so, yeah, let's just see if we can do it. It's a goal to set for myself throughout the month of October. It's a short-term goal. It's specific, and it's reasonable. And it will help me sort of get through some of the backlog of stuff. I mean, obviously, I've said before, I've got more books on my shelves than I have days left to live. So I'm never going to get completely caught up with books, but the ones that are on the 100 scariest list and some of the books that I already have started or are in the queue, I think are a good place to start with that. And I will try for a Metal Monday, but there's, I think, only one on the list that really kind of qualifies. So I might do something else for Metal Mondays. I haven't decided yet, but those are a little bit separate from the FALLOWEEN readings. So blah, blah, blah. I guess I've babbled on long enough. Hope you're reading lots of horror. Have a great day, and it is FALLOWEEN, and welcome to the best month of the year.